Hey friends, it's Jeff Morgan here for Plant-Based News. In this video, I will be delivering to you my top 7 tips for bulking or building muscle on a plant-based diet. Now, many people out there still think that a vegan diet and muscle building aren't synonymous. However, there are many vegan athletes out there in the world, including myself, that have figured out that it's not only possible to build muscle on a plant-based diet, it can be efficient and even health-promoting. Now, you can build muscle on almost any diet, but that doesn't mean you'll be healthy or be able to sustain that muscle growth for the long haul. That's why I've put together my top tips for bulking on a vegan diet so that you can get the edge, the healthy edge, be an inspiration to others, and do a thing or two for the planet and the animals. So I'm currently at the midpoint of a bulking phase, and these tips have helped me gain 14 pounds in the last 3.5 months while staying lean. But first, I want to talk about the proper definition of bulking. Now, when I say bulk, I'm talking about quality muscle. I'm not talking about fatty muscle, unhealthy muscle. I'm talking about muscle that has been built on highly nutritious plant food. Now, it's important to understand that your food will actually become you. And do we want muscles that come from poor quality foods, such as highly processed and refined foods? Or muscles that come from nutritious whole plant foods? Well, hopefully the latter. Because I'm not only talking about muscle here, I'm talking about health and fitness. And we want both, right? So here are my top 7 tips for bulking up on a plant-based diet. Now, number 1, increase quality calories. Now, many people think that calories equals gains, and that just isn't true. Proper nutrition equals gains, and that's macro and micronutrients. Now, many that switch to a plant-based diet are used to eating certain portion sizes. And because animal products are higher in calories per serving than their plant-based counterparts, many people find themselves in a pretty large caloric deficit. That is, if they're eating whole plant foods. So yes, in order to gain muscle, you have to eat enough calories to support muscle growth. And that may mean increasing the portion sizes of the plant foods you're eating. But if you don't focus on getting your micronutrients as well, your progress could be less efficient and you could be jeopardizing your health. So what's the proper amount of food for you? Well, there is no set answer. But in the process of learning what works for you, you can become a more intuitive eater and know what your body needs. So the common idea is that more is better when it comes to calories, but it's not. The appropriate amount is best. But before we know what the appropriate amount is, we have to ask ourselves a few questions first. First of all, how are you responding to your current diet? How do you feel? And are you making some gains at least? First, I recommend cleaning up your diet, if you haven't yet, and make the majority of your foods whole. Include nutrient-dense foods that provide you with polyphenols, chlorophyll, and omega-3 fatty acids that help reduce inflammation and speed up recovery. Foods such as berries, apples, greens, nuts, and seeds. Now, if you've done that, then try increasing your total calories and see how your body responds. Now, you're probably waiting to hear what my target macro ratio is. Well, there isn't one. Some people have really high thyroid hormone and respond really well to a high carbohydrate diet. Others may respond better to a diet that's higher in fat. So don't buy into gimmicks and copy what you see other people doing, because there are so many factors involved, such as age, weight, gender, thyroid hormone, testosterone levels, estrogen levels, and so on. You may even want to track your nutrition on websites like Chronometer and MyFitnessPal to see how much you're eating and what that food is giving you. And you can use that until eating for your perfect body becomes intuitive. It may take a little longer, but once you figure it all out, you'll be on a program that's right for you, not on somebody else's program that's right for them. But you should be in a calorie surplus if you're trying to consistently gain muscle. So how do you know you're on a calorie surplus? Well, you'll be gaining weight. And if you're working out intensely enough and regularly enough and getting the proper nutrition and rest, most of that weight should be muscle.
So number 2, change your routine. The intensity and style of your training should be such that it forces your body to adapt. So if you're going to the gym 3 days a week and doing the same 3 sets of 10 reps that you've been doing for the last 6 months or a year, you shouldn't expect anything different than what you're getting. You see, the body is a magnificent adaptive machine. So if you give your body something different than what it's used to and then change it up again as soon as your body adapts, then you should be seeing regular progress and growth. See, muscle growth is not all about lifting heavy weights, although that is a part of it. Muscle growth is about powerfully engaging all the muscle fibers, fast twitch, slow twitch, and continuously increasing the intensity at which you train. So if you've been doing heavy weights with low reps and long rests in between sets, then change it up and do higher reps with lower weights with less rest in between sets. And on the opposite side, if you've been doing higher reps with lower weights, try gradually increasing the weights you use, decrease the repetitions, and get stronger. So the next time you change it up and you go back to those high reps with the low weight sets, you're doing a heavier version of what you used to do before. You may even want to change it up completely and do some body weight exercises or sports like CrossFit to really give your body a new reason to adapt and grow. Just make sure you're changing it up just as you feel you've adapted to the current training program. Other ways of changing it up is to change the tempo at which you train. Try focusing on slower movements and creating more time under tension. Try changing the angle at which you train a muscle group and give more emphasis to different parts of the muscle. There are countless things we can do to stimulate muscle growth and adaptation, such as changing the tempo, the intensity, the rep range, the angle at which you train the muscle, changing the weight, and finding different and new exercises. You just have to do some investigation, try new things, and make sure you're training in a way that has you gradually strengthening the muscles, tendons, and joints. So you gotta make sure you're training in a way that's smart so that the joints and tendons strengthen at the same rate as your muscles. Because if you start going to the gym and throwing around heavy weights, your muscles could get bigger, but you could be risking joint and tendon injury, and that could set you way back. So train smart, change it up, and work with your body. And number 3, up your intensity. See, we all have our limits, but most of those limits are self-imposed. We feel a certain way at the end of a set and we say, I'm done, when we actually could have done a few more reps. See, the intensity at which you train plays a direct role in how much muscle you build. And it's usually on the other side of our mental limits that the magic occurs.
The pump on these exercises is absolutely phenomenal. It's hard to get a pump like that when you're doing just regular, 3 sets, 10 reps. But when you're going for it like that, the pump is just awesome.
So when you're training, ask yourself, am I giving all that I can at this moment? And if the answer is no, well, this may be where you're lacking. So up your game by upping your intensity. Push just a little bit farther than you're used to every time, and you should see results. And of course, seek the help of a personal trainer so that you can learn proper technique and prevent injury. And number 4, eat to grow. You may need to increase the amount of high-protein plant foods that you're eating to make sure you're getting enough protein to meet your body's new demands and getting enough of the branched-chain amino acids to get you to the threshold for consistent growth. So some of the plant foods that are highest in protein and the branched-chain amino acids are soybeans and edamame, mung beans, peas, beans and rice combinations, and lentils. See, animal products come with a much higher concentration of the BCAAs than plant foods, but they also come with a lot of other unwanteds, such as saturated animal fat, cholesterol, environmental toxins, large amounts of growth hormones, antibiotics, and so on, and that's a pretty big price to pay for some protein. So the price people on a plant-based diet have to pay to build large amounts of muscle is to either eat a much greater volume of food, especially those foods containing higher amounts of the BCAAs, or take supplemental BCAAs from a clean vegan source. But I recommend, especially if you're just starting out, to get your diet in order and see how your food affects you before you start taking supplemental nutrition.
And number 5, time management. If you want to build muscle on a continuous basis, you have to be consistent. If you start and stop, and start and stop, your body will not adapt. But if your training is consistent, your body will adjust by building more muscle. Now, consistency requires time management. You got to set aside a certain time of day where you say to yourself, I just have to get this done. Create a rhythm where your training becomes a necessary part of your day. Now, if something comes up like family matters or travel, just take it as a rest day and move on. Just don't let it come in the way of your routine. Stay with your program and be disciplined enough to see it through. Manage your workouts the same way that you'd manage your finances, your schedule, and even your kids' schedule, and make it an integral part of your daily routine. And number 6, have a purpose. In many cases, getting bigger for the sake of getting bigger isn't enough motivation to help you reach your goals. In my case, my purpose is spreading the good news about a plant-based diet, what it can do for human health, how it can help end animal suffering, and how it can help the planet. So the more I grow and the more I reach my peak fitness level, the more people come to me and want to know what I'm doing. And that opens the door for a change in mindset and beliefs as I talk about the multitude of benefits that come from eating a plant-based diet. And the more people I reach, the more good I can do on this planet while I'm here. So it's this purpose that gives me the passion and motivation that overrides my occasional desire to sleep in or put the weights down before I've given it my all. I'll be training, I'll be getting to my last few reps where it's really tough, and then I'll say to myself, this isn't real suffering. And then I think of those that are and keep pushing. So align yourself with a purpose that's larger than you, and you'll find that you have the reason and strength to achieve your goals. So without a commitment to something that's greater than you, and without that drive and fire that comes with aligning yourself with a purpose, it may be very difficult to build and maintain your body for the long haul.
Number 7, feed your workout. If you're training hard, make sure you eat enough after your workout to feed the work that you've done. So let's say you just finished training. Well, after your blood shunts or is redirected back to your digestive tract from your muscles, which is when people usually start getting hungry and could take around 45 minutes, make sure you have that calorie-rich and nutrient-dense food ready to restore depleted glycogen or blood sugar and to promote that anabolic effect by giving your muscles what they need to grow. For example, if I eat 3,500 calories a day, I may eat up to 50% of my calories in the following meal and snack after my workout, and then eat a bit lighter for the rest of the meals. And to get to my target calories, I have to eat around 5 to 6 times a day. That way, I'm ensuring that the glycogen that I've depleted is restored, and the muscle fibers that I've micro-damaged have what they need to begin their repair process, without my body lacking what it needs or tapping into its own resources, i.e. muscle tissue, for energy. You see, training creates a higher demand on the body. It burns some fat, it lost some glycogen, so the body is more receptive to nutrients post-workout. So we want to feed our body according to its demand. So now that you've created the demand, give your body what it needs. But if you haven't created the demand, be careful not to overeat, which can create unnecessary amounts of body fat. See, exercise helps accelerate all the body's processes, which is why it's so health promoting. So thanks for watching Plant-Based News. Be sure to like and subscribe and let me know what you think down below. And if you have any of your own tips, I'll be doing more videos with plant-based news soon, but feel free to check out my own channel, Guilt Free TV, for more health, fitness, and food videos. Now go out there and get those gains.